Do you think Deadwood is a place where religion is non-existent? Because religion is clearly one of the things that he was trying to get into it with the Reverend character. I think what he was trying to say with that storyline was, this is part of the old world. This can't exist in this awful, lawless place, and that's why he has to die.
Yeah.
And obviously it's an excuse to show the kindness of Al and all this other things. But I think that's thematically what he was trying to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's a place where, it's a holdover from the old world.
Yeah.
A holdover from, East Coast America or whatever, Europe and whatever. And the preacher's the Reverend's trying to fit in, he's trying to do good, but he ends up just being a bit of a nuisance and getting in the way of things. And he's there if you need him, but no one really needs him.
No.
Instead people turn to people like Al or the Doc or whatever. It's moving away from people believing in religion and more believing in themselves.
Yeah.
The integrity of themselves.
And the idea of community.
Yeah, supporting the wider Deadwood.
The wider Deadwood community, yes. Because ultimately the show is about a community.
Yeah.
It's about a place where people can come and they can build their lives up anew.
Well, I like the idea that it's broken people coming together to make something new. It's
by far the most optimistic of all the big dramas.
Yeah.
Like Mad Men is so obtuse and depressing. The Wire is about how systems are awful and everyone will be miserable in them. The Sopranos is just depressing.
Yeah.
It's funny and stuff, but it's pretty depressing. But I think Deadwood has a real sense of clarity and
I think so, yeah.
And it's a lot of the lines are so philosophical and deep, but in a way that's not cynical. It's all basically, I think the point of Deadwood is things happen, you have to move on from them.
Yeah.
Awful things have happened to every character, but you have to move on with your life and you have to embrace a wider thing.
And you're right there, but there's no cynicism to the show.
No.
There's no, we're post-millennial and we're being clever and ironic and...
Yeah.
There's none of that.
It just tells a story.
It tells a story, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, it's it's almost rare to find that. Because like I said, you'll find something like with Mad Men, where it's thematically rich, but the story's a bit weak.
Yeah.
While Deadwood, the story is really strong and it's thematically rich. The themes come from the story.
Yeah.
You could easily enjoy Deadwood just based on what happens episode by episode.
Yeah.
But obviously you get more from looking at the wider themes, but it's hard to find that balance. I think even at times Sopranos falls into that trap.
I think The Sopranos can be plotless and aimless at times, and it has some episodes that are clearly just padding.
Yeah.
But I don't think Deadwood has any really.
Deadwood's got none, yeah.
Yeah, there's no... It feels almost like they had to edit it down, not in a bad way, but it almost feels like they could have done 50 episodes this season, and it would have still been interesting. And it would still have been this sort of amazing show. It would have just told other stories.
Yeah.
It feels like you could go to any member of the community and just, that's a story that's worth telling. Like Charlie Utter. Charlie Utter Freights.
Yeah.
He's an amazing character, and he's barely in it.
Yeah. I even made a comment I think it's when Seth is walking through town and Charlie Utter's face like, I'm still in this show. I'm still here.
Yep.
But yeah, even all the side characters, the tertiary characters, the little details of it is great. I've said this one quite a lot, but I love the kind of news reporter guy who obsesses over his new camera and he does the newsprints, and I love the episode where they try to talk about the new town and it's
Plague.
That's it. That's the Plague episode. That's it. Yeah. And they talk about how do we present this outbreak of plague to the town, and Al's getting involved and everyone's getting involved and I'm trying to have a say, and the newsprint's well, no, it's not a good idea. No, we can't really say that. Yeah. And then at the last minute, Al notices some punctuation problems, and he's like, "No, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. That's fucking it."
Yeah.
So yes. Any other questions? Least favourite character.
Least favourite character. I'm going to guess this is going to be Bullock.
For me, it's probably Bullock.
Bullock, yeah.
He redeems himself a bit in the last episode.
He's really good in the last episode. Timothy Oliphant is great in the last episode.
He really finds himself in the last episode, but boy, has it been a long journey to get to this point.
Would you say that that's the... Well, I'm going to say flaws in season 1, if you know any. Would you say the only one is really that Bullock's a bit uninteresting at first?
Yeah.
Or would you even say it's a flaw?
I would call it a flaw.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to go for one thing, and the actor's trying to do it another way. I get the concept of the character.
Yeah.
I just don't think we do enough with it.
Yes. Well, the concept is, isn't it, that he's so angry because the world is unjust.
But like, I want to know the reasons why. Because like, most characters know that the world is a bit shit and unjust, and like, why is he getting pissed off?
There's an amazing actual scene in. I'm watching season 3 at the same time, where he talks to Trixie and gets her to sign something, and then she walks off, and he just goes, "Fucking asshole." And it's like, that's what everyone would think of him, that he's a fucking asshole. He can't control himself and he's a dick.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, the show, because a lot of it was, basically the style was that they would have scripts, which were written by those people, Ted Mann and that, and David Milch would just rewrite them and improvise on set. So I imagine maybe the Bullock would have been more if, like, he might have seen Ian McShane and gone, well, focus on him.
Yeah.
He's by far the more interesting one.
He's a more interesting character.
Yes. Other than Bullock's slight inability to be interesting at first, do you think there's any other flaws of season 1? I think slightly the fact that the first couple of episodes aren't as sharp as the late. I think it's definitely a show where the second half really is much, much better than the first.
But the first 2 episodes, I think, they're not as focused.
No.
And I don't think they set things up as well as they could do.
No.
Like, in terms of... I don't think at the same time, like, that's what it would be like. If you were like Seth and you come to his town his camp for the first time, and you're getting involved in all the politics and stuff, you'd have no idea what's going on.
No.
Because you're learning, so at the same time the confusion kind of...
Works to its advantage.
Yeah.
I was thinking this actually, like, other day. What is the difference between, and this is going to sound stupid, you reviewed Inherent Vice and said you couldn't understand it and didn't like it. After watching Deadwood, you had lots of questions about what was happening. What's the difference between Inherent Vice, which you didn't like as much as you could because you didn't understand it, and Deadwood, which you absolutely love, but at the same time find to be equally as dense?
Because with Deadwood, it's better shot, it's better acted, it's better written.
Yeah, I'll admit that all those are true, even though I love Inherent Vice.
I think that even while I struggle to follow some of plot lines, more intricacies of it, I could still get into the emotions of the scenes.
Yes.
I could understand emotionally what was going on.
Yeah.
And the characters of the humanity there. So while there was problems with Al and trying to sort out his whole thing with this Claggett character, I didn't understand the intricacies of it, but I understood that this character is a threat to Al. Al's got to work out a way of neutralising him because it could reveal that Al is a criminal. I understand that this army coming in trying to make it into a town will reveal Al to be a criminal. I don't really maybe, but the intricacies I haven't processed, but I understand emotionally what's going on.
Yeah.
Which Inherent Vice, I've got no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's my answer. Hopefully that's leveled.
No, that's fine. I just thought, and that also brings up more of Deadwood. Did you find Deadwood in the first season, and this will probably be an answer, it's too early to tell, to be like one of the definitive shows, like works of art about the beginning of America?
Oh yeah. No,
Yes.
I remember the first season, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's a number that attempt it. Something like Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah.
It's a classic example. But that concept is almost too big to fit into like a film.
Yeah.
Or like a piece of music. Maybe a novel could do it.
Even I reckon the novel would have to be like 2,000 pages.
That'd be huge, yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe a television is the best way that can present that huge scope.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I've never seen anything that's quite presented the West the way Deadwood's done.
Yeah.
I was talking about getting people at work to watch it, and one guy has been watching it and he absolutely adores it. One guy tried watching it and he said he just couldn't. It was
follow it. Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't follow it. Too gritty, too. I don't know. Yeah, but
I can understand why people.
I can understand.
Give it up because it is incredibly dense and it's very, very hard to follow at times. And if you can, and also I can imagine like first few episodes, you're just like, why am I watching this show about an attempted child murder?
Yeah, yeah.
And like,
I must admit, if you weren't here watching it with me,
yeah,
I'd have struggled a bit.
Yeah. Because
I'd have wanted to clarify what was going on.
Yeah.
So having you here, who's seen it a few times, could just say, well, this is what happens. That's really helped.
Yeah.
If I was watching it by myself, I still would have watched it, and I would have thought by the end of season 1, man, I'm really glad I stuck with that, but I maybe would have found it a bit difficult at first. I did find it a little bit tricky at first to watch.
Yeah.
The way the characters talk and the setting and the character relationships between them all now.
Yeah.
I did find it hard to follow at first, but now that I've kind of got to know them a bit more and I understand the way they talk and the intricacies a little bit more.
Yeah.
It just takes, you just gotta watch it, you've got to trust in it.
Yeah.
I think.
I also was going to say, I think that, were you going to say something there?
No.
I think that the structure of the season is I think this show is structured like real life more than any other show, because it's set over 2 weeks, and like if you look at the way the plotting is, it looks to be completely all over the place. You've got things that happen in episodes that don't really reappear. The first 4 episodes are about a plot line which is completely separate from the last 4. Everything's all over the place, but I think that just makes it reflect real life more.
Yeah.
Like you've got like the murder of Wild Bill Hickok is a massive event, and then all the characters struggle with that, and some disappear. Like Jane's not in the last 3 episodes.
She's gone, yeah.
She's not been in the last 3. She's gone, and like you get bits where Bullock, like the main character, disappears from an episode, Plague, which is like one of the best ones. You've got bits where people disappear. Things are weirdly plotted. Plot lines like they dip out and then they come back in. And like I think that perfectly reflects like the way actual life is, rather than
so, yeah.
because it's not like in life you don't just have one thing you aim for.
That's it, yeah. Life is one sustained narrative.
It's you get distracted and you move on to other things until it bites you in the face, and then you've got to focus on that, and then it's all like that kind of thing. And I think that perfectly reflects it in a way that I don't think. No, we're talking about whether to get made now. I don't think they'd even be able to get like that like improvising on set all the time, because apparently that was what cost most of the costs.
Oh yeah.
Like this is amazing, this right? But apparently on the last episode of season 3, right, they were shooting it, and these were like the last week. And David Milch just looked at the script, said this is shit, disappeared for 2 hours, and rewrote the entire last 15 pages.
Oh my god.
On like the last episode of the last season. He just thought this is shit, and then he rewrote all of it, completely changed it. I mean, I don't think anyone else would even stand for that. They'd just sack you straight away, wouldn't they, in any other network? But I think that is sort of like a thing. But I think because it is that improvised and it can focus on that, it manages to reflect things more. Like other shows that try and attempt that kind of thing fail because they're all about one thing and they have the subplots in the background. There isn't even a main plot in Deadwood. Like
not really, yeah.
The first few episodes about the gold claim, then it's about Wild Bill Hickok's death, then it's about forming an alliance with America, then it's about the last 3 episodes are sort of not really about anything really.
Yeah, but they're just all the characters separate threads that we're following.
Yeah, it's like, but none of them are really given any kind of real significance, are they? Every character is given equal significance, as if every character has their own. I think that's why it's the best show, in my opinion, ever made, because it treats every single character as equally as every one of them, and they're all interesting. And even though it's the work of mainly one person, David Milch, every single character has their own voice.
Yeah.
And it would have been so easy, wouldn't it, to make every character talk the same, because the dialogue is so heavily stylized. But they all have their own colloquialisms and dialogues and everything. It's just incredible. So, would you give Deadwood Season 1 a 10 out of 10?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%, yes. It has been one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's the most fun I've had watching a TV show where it's deeply impacted me since Sopranos.
Yeah.
And that's a tough act to follow.
It is.
I've enjoyed plenty of TV shows since then, loved plenty.
Yeah.
But none have quite hit home as much as Deadwood for me.
No.
So, it feels like a natural successor.
Yes. I also actually think that another show would be scared to be so profound and so philosophical. As you were saying about cynicism, like a lot of things now seem to go towards like developing their themes with like an ironic edge.
Yeah.
Like we're about America, but then they would talk about it and sort of downplay it a bit. Deadwood, it doesn't do that at all. It is about America and it is about creating things. It's not like, as you were saying, cynical or like, it just is what it is, and like you could either go with it or not. It's like, yeah.
Well, like you say, it's like a great novel.
Yeah.
It's a visual novel.
Yeah.
In that it's quite upfront about what it is. And it just runs with it. It's just telling a story.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of hard to find that.
Yeah.
These days especially on television, where it's just telling a story about characters living together.
Yeah.
Um.
But yes, Deadwood Season 1. perfectly shot. You'd agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah.
There wasn't a single shot that was wrong, was there?
Visually, cinematically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
This could have. Would you? If this were in a cinema, you wouldn't notice the difference, would you?
no.
It just would look like a film.
It looks phenomenal. If it blown it up to like widescreen and stuff, and
Well, it is shot in widescreen.
yeah. I'd happily still watch it in the cinema, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd quite happily get my money's worth.
Yeah. It's beautifully shot. It's perfectly written. It's perfectly. There isn't. Do you think there's a weak link in the cast?
No.
No.
No, not really.
No.
That's what we talked about with Seth. But Timothy Olyphant does the best that he can do.
Yeah.
With the character at that point. So.
Yeah.
No, not a single one.
Not a single weak link in the cast. Is there even? Would you say there's a weak episode, or do you think it all like in your head? You can't really pinpoint anyone that's
Like I said, I can think of maybe a couple which were 8 out of 10s.
rather than tens.
Rather than 10s, just like ooh.
Yeah.
It's still an amazing hour of television and better than.
Well, even then, it's probably just by Deadwood standards.
By Deadwood standard, it's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I can't think of any episodes like, oh, that was shit.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the Kristen Bell storyline.
No.
Or Psy. Or
Yeah. Well, I was going to get to. There's a couple more things. God, this is going to be long. But
this is huge, yeah.
yes, there isn't a single real issue, I don't think, with season 1 apart from just being a little potless at the beginning and the Bullock stuff. But
Yeah.
it's just flawless entertainment. It's something that will probably never get repeated again. This kind of. Even. Do you think another? Have you ever seen a show as ambitious? To be about the formation of America and about community and about the human condition and all this other stuff, or even any other work of art that's as ambitious.
Sopranos is the only one that springs to mind.
I wouldn't even say that's that ambitious because it's all about one man and it's about struggles with depression and stuff, but it isn't about America as a whole. And
Yeah, it's more like a background thing, isn't it? No, yeah, no, you're right, yeah.
it's the most ambitious work of art ever made. And I was going to say, do you have a favourite plotline or scene? Or one that you think is the most important to the show?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, favourite scene would be, oh my god, I'm going to think about it. You say yours now.
My favourite scene, well, it's not my favourite, but I think the most important scene is actually, it's in a weak episode, it's in Mr. Wu.
Oh yeah.
The episode that we thought was just standard. Still great,
Standard Deadwood, yeah.
It's the bit where the Reverend goes into the hardware store and he's terrified, and and Seth and Saul assure him that they are his friends, they're not the devil.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that is the key to understand, because it's a show which is ultimately about violence and evil and awfulness, but it has those grace notes where it's like, it's just, there's no narrative reason for that scene. If that scene wasn't in there, the Reverend storyline would be the exact same.
Yeah.
But it takes the time to just have this moment of kindness amongst all this evil and rot that's in there. And I think that is sort of the most, I think it's the best scene for doing that. I think it even beats the finale of Sold in the Sin, because it's a sweeter moment, and it's sort of, it's more small scale, and as a scene, it's more just you don't have any context for it.
Yeah.
It just works as a scene. It's perfectly acted. I think that's the most important scene. Favourite scene, I would probably say the blowjob monologue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. For me, my favourite scene and the best scene, and it was the turning point of Deadwood.
Yeah.
Where I felt like I understood the characters more, I understood what the show was about.
Yeah.
And it's the moment where, after Trixie has kind of betrayed Al,
Yeah.
Al is, you think he's going to be pissed off and angry, but instead he just pulls the sheets back and welcomes Trixie into his bed again.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It's wordless.
Yeah.
It's all visual, but you understand Al's compassion. He's a compassionate man.
Yeah.
Even if he is a ruthless person, and that's when he started to get the feeling that the show is quite warm.
Yeah.
And welcoming.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yes.
So for me, that was probably my favourite scene. The turning point for me.
Yeah.
That's the most important scene.
Yeah.
Because it was the turning point of the whole show. In terms of my favourite scene, we've got so many great monologues.
Yeah. Well, the monologues in this are just out of this world, isn't it? There's just amazing. You could list them off. Every episode has another great monologue. But yeah, you were saying.
So that's probably the most important scene. In terms of my whole-time favourite scene, too many. VB monologue is fantastic.
Yeah.
Where he's scrubbing the floors. Too many.
Yeah.
Too many. I just can't think. We're all great.
Yeah.
We're all great scenes. Eddie could be my favourite.
Yeah.
They're all stand out.
Yes, I also think Deadwood never condescends to its audience.
Yeah.
Not like we're talking about The Sopranos, and there's a scene in the last season, right? And it annoyed me when I watched it. It's an episode called Kennedy and Heidi, right?
What happens in it?
And spoiler for The Sopranos. I'm imagining if you're watching a Deadwood thing, you'll probably see The Sopranos. But what happens is it's the one where Tony kills Christopher.
Oh.
So Christopher almost gets in a car accident with these two young women, Kennedy and Heidi, and then Christopher spins off the road, and and it's this accident that's happened, right? And then the scene is Tony kills Christopher, yep. And then for no reason, right, other than to make a point, it cuts to Kennedy and Heidi in the car going, "Shall we go back?" And then they go, "No, I'm on my learner's license." Just to make the point that you're as bad as them.
Oh.
The point is basically Kennedy and Heidi are these two young people. They're the audience, and they're as bad as the gangsters because they didn't go back.
Oh.
And it's this condescending moment. It's basically fuck you, audience, for watching this show. And it's what is the point of that? But I don't think that the Deadwood would ever do anything like that. Or
No, it never makes any what's the word? Apologies for what it is.
Yeah.
It's quite upfront, and it just kind of goes along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't talk down to the audience or make any compromises for what it is. That's it. It makes no compromises for what it is. Whew.
God. And if you thought this was long, wait until I get into season 2, which is my favourite season of television ever.
Oh Jesus!
It is just season 1 is good. But compared to season 2, season 2 is twice as good.
Oh my God!
Season 2 is every line is profound and philosophical and deep. Every character is better. Every character is just better written and better done. There are scenes that will make you cry. They're so emotional. It's astonishing. Season 2.
Make you laugh, make you cry.
It'll just do everything.
Jeez.
Season 2 is where season 1 was successful, so it's season 2 is when it got really ambitious. Season 2 is just incredible.
I can't wait.
I've never seen anything I've enjoyed. I've never enjoyed a book or an album or a film or anything as much as season 2.
Oh, I'm pretty pumped.
Yes. So yes, join us for that.